Drake's murder. And I mean, just don't let the wrong person see this video. The point I'm getting at is, along with Big's bars, Jay inherited Big's persona and made it his own.
And now we begin.
With the help of Puff P. Daddy, no less, who is a co-producer on that record, thus effectively ushering in the bling era of hip-hop, and in the process beginning the severance of hip-hop, radically black politic that in this sense, at least the mid-80s. Jay-Z's place in hip-hop history is a complicated one, to say the least, since we're trying to say, but he does have the resume to support his good contention, whether consciously or not. Jay did nearly as much as Cub turned straight into hip-hop. Worse than that, he did so while presenting himself as an outsider of the culture.
Lightning speed.
Basically, what I'm saying is, Jay-Z is a colonizer, but only because he made himself so. And until like the last maybe decade or so, he didn't really seem to show any perspective. In his lifetime, Jay has been above the laws. David John was very basketball and but none of that is the real story. He's been telling us who he is for years, but it wasn't until that Diamonds feature that he finally said out loud what he's been saying about the Jay-Z is not just a brand. He is a business. Capital is not just his primary, that is his whole self. Like I said earlier, even if they'll never admit it, I feel like Jay's most recent persona is in part a way to make amends and reconnect with the culture after years of fashion. There comes a point in everyone's life when they begin to contemplate legacy. And when it is all said and done, those who go back there's deeper than dick-sucking parents. Those who remember the Hawaiian shirts and the baby bubbles. Those who remember every time he actively distanced himself from the culture while he gave as much money and power as possible. We'll have to reconcile Jay's genius with his ambition. I mean, mainstream publications have to say, sadly, this is the reason why Jay will never be a serious low candidate according to the culture at least, despite his resume. Normally, this is why, in my opinion, the first Drake it was Jay-Z. Or at the very least, it was also the possibility of Drake the threat or gatekeeping. Like I said, by the late 90s, mainstream hip-hop had largely banned the 6-inch butters, X-Marcus with shiny suits and whatever the hell Puff had on in that Mo Money, Mo Problem video. Hip-hop as a whole was becoming increasingly more materialistic and honestly pretty as an art form. And I mean, like, yeah, you still had your Outkast, you still had Nas, you still had Lauryn Hill for like a year, plus the members of Black Star. But for the most part, mainstream hip-hop was becoming ever more superficial around the turn of the millennium. And remember, that was by design. That radical, even rebellious identity politic I mentioned earlier was effectively reduced to just an aesthetic now. But at the very least, that aesthetic was still black as hell. That's why Drake couldn't have worked 20 years ago, if you ask me. His presentation is just too divorced from the kind of blackness to which mainstream outlets had grown accustomed to seeing from rappers, and more importantly, what they expected from them. But that's where our next candidate comes in.
When was the last time I took a road trip? How many national parks could I hit in 2 weeks? What about hotels? Wait, hey Erica, how much am I spending on travel?
When your questions about life turn into questions about money, there's Erica, the virtual financial assistant to help you spend, save, and plan smarter only from Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Erica is only available in the English language. You can download the latest version of the mobile banking app only available on select mobile devices. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America and a member FDIC.
Jeffrey Bruce Atkins was born and raised in Hollis, Queens, which always been kind of an incubator for hip hop culture, giving us the likes of Run DMC, Russell Simmons, and it was actually one of the neighborhoods that LL grew up in his youth. And another pretty important figure to the story that we'll come back to later. Jeff's father left the home when he was a boy, and due to his mom's work schedule, lived with his grandparents until he was around 12 or 13. At which point he moved back in with his mom and started hustling, according to his own account, to help his mom make ends meet. This is also around the time Jeff took on the moniker that we would all know him by today, Ja Rule. Ja formed the group Cash Money Click in the early 90s, and independently they released their first single around 96 or so with the help of fellow Hollis resident, a young DJ Irv, the future Irv Gotti. Cash Money Click wound up building enough buzz to be signed to a record deal, a deal that Irv helped broker, and planned to release their debut album until one of the members wound up catching a 5-year bid, causing the group to be dropped, and they ultimately disbanded not long after. Not a problem though, because right around the same time, Irv was hired by Def Jam as an A&R, and one of his first big acquisitions was none other than Jeffrey Atkins. Due to his success in helping produce Reasonable Doubt, along with signing DMX, co-producing his classic debut, Def Jam granted Irv his own increment in 97 ish, which he and Freddie Chris wound up naming Murder Inc., with their flagship artist being none other than Ja Rule. For the rest of the 90s, Ja was featured on a bunch of tracks for a number of hip-hop acts, including DMX and LL Cool J, coincidentally enough, and even Drew Hill tapping into that coveted R&B audience. But no one's bigger than Jay-Z's Can I Get Her?
And now we begin.
His biggest single and lead one off of Life and Time Volume 2, Jay's first album featuring John followed that feature with his own debut solo next year, which peaked at
This game
early 2000s. For that, also revealed which working DJ 11. He has set the stage for John's biggest single, his signature song. It only became the second single on John's song, and this complete severs from the East Coast street sound from his early career to the entire 40 products that become his legacy. It's hard to articulate how big this song was back then, but the reference of the first one being retired on promotions and market spending. You never remember this back in days where ET still mattered. The countdown showed up for the close of the culture, and making it on 106 with GRL was basically the song that was happening. You were a superstar at least in the eyes that could into the team. Something like rap. Off the back of Johnny Bird, it became the biggest rap debut like a year, and John himself was the biggest rap player. He had the personality. He was and he had the charisma, and he was also he had the backing of the strings, both between John and other adjacent rappers, like Dudley and Ludacris, for example, aside from 9 of them being either East or West Coast, 9 of them were ever seen that street dudes by culture or mainstream, so thus they take it seriously as well. That's the thing that gets lost in there. And stuff that hip-hop's art is in the black diversity experience. That's me with black that experience is not going to register as authentic to the audience. At least that's what it was back then. John was a street rapper, just made the transition to mainstream, thus the streets accepted as authentic. John was what the gatekeepers intended LL to be, what he could have been if he wanted to be, what Jay-Z to be, but never quite managed. Again, like I said in a previous video, Ja Rule was exactly. His legacy isn't just his commercial success, but the fact that he has learned in his period started being just after avoiding just sound wasted, having toward the lead, ballad adjacent tracks on their if that makes any sense. What I'm saying is, before Ja Rule became shorthand for Hold This L, he was set up to be not just the biggest rapper, but probably the biggest.
We begin.
Decade or so. If not more. Okay, so in order to properly understand
Serious, Steven?
activate specifically the streets of South Jamaica, so many times stands in and the free. The fact is that
Red is the winner.
Got it. Should here. Get that. Oh, thank you. Got it.
Okay. Let me be helpful.
I hear you.
Be waiting on you,
You are defeated.
Mrs. Mima.
Celebration time!
Look who it is.
Hey, Sam. Hey. 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 Hey, Sarah. Hey.
No, you good.
I just want to put this in water.
Okay.
Maybe it goes someplace.
It should be on.
Hey! Hey! God, whatever you're saying sounds good to me.
He missed you.
Um,
He missed you.
I expect you to miss me.
Look how happy he is. I'll find
Maybe
him. I'll
just a
find
glass, a big glass.
him. No, I know we got a base for when I buy her flowers.
What?
just as is. So big at this point that it should be really fair. 50 Cent became unexpectedly just as relevant in consciousness as Ja without sacrificing any of that street edge that made him so popular in the ground to begin with. But why and how did he get that edge to begin with? Yeah, that's how. 50's near with death was literally the best thing to happen to his career, at least. Matter of fact, the second or third best diss track of all time, in my opinion, is based on that fact.
Shot again. That's what your second album.
had to shout out Jada Kiss here. I just had to, man. Like, I'm not even joking. 50 was so messed up after that attempt on his life that he pretty much had to relearn how to walk. And it was that led him to developing the workout routine that turned listed from the industry as a result. So 50 fled to the Poconos to go and get healthy, after which point he went to Canada to record with the help of Sean Money XL, who wound up basically becoming G-Unit's in-house producer later on. You can hear him being shouted out in a bunch of their records from the time. You can go check that out on your own time. The important part is that this period produced the Guess Who's Back mixtape, which 50's lawyer at the time handed to a colleague of his who was at the time Eminem's manager. Hey, y'all pretty much already know the rest of the story. 50's meteoric rise was in a lot of ways a reaction to Ja's crossover. The common narrative is that Ja had the radio, but 50 had the streets, which is why 50 ultimately came out on top, which isn't wrong. But as most things on YouTube is pretty reductive.
What? Triple A auto insurance.
The team selling me some smart, and he was smart price.
Thomas, Jerry, why are we fighting
and for that matter, Dre and 50 himself definitely knew what they were doing with the whole movie. Thanks to gangsta rap's takeover of the genre a decade earlier, the record companies understood that there was more than one way to make hip-hop mainstream. The formula that made 50 stand to the hottest rapper in the world for like 2 years is the same one that Jay-Z was trying to use for himself just 5 years earlier. The problem was with the way that Jay presented it. Remember how I told y'all to take notes? Well, it popped is nigga. All that I say was my people's favorite rapper growing up. Do you know why he was? Check your notes again, but I told you I don't compare reasonable doubt to. Street niggas like Jay for the same reason Scarface is considered a hood classic by Stone, and why Power has stayed for so long that it has more spin-offs than a Beyblade. Yeah, that was a very dorky reference, but I am. Jay's music, at least like the first blood 2 or 3 LPs, is a power fantasy at heart. It is what the average little boy aspires to become when they enter the game. It's not meant to make you say, drugs are bad, okay? It's meant to make you say, damn, I bet it could be a gangster. Or, damn, I wish I knew better before I got into this BS. And you really know better. That's why, honestly, aside from my pops, who, at least legally speaking, is as clean as Colgate, none of my OGs really listen to Nas like that. Let me just take a second to retract something I said in the last video. I'm sorry for the illness race. It's not a black man with these eyes. It's Dave. And I will go further. I'm sorry, Nas, you're still my favorite MC. I gotta keep up on it. Whatever, moving on. Like you said earlier, Jay saw himself as a pop artist using rap as a vehicle. His whole goal was to make the streets accessible to the suburbs. In a lot of ways, he succeeded in doing just that. The problem was that Jay's presentation was a little too glamorous for his own good. Like I said, in How the Hood was commodified. A lot of suburbanites listen to street hop for the same reason they watch they get to have their world with kind of the danger attached to it. Unless we're talking about Carnival Ride, stay off those things.
And now we begin.
Kendrick's music resonates with sweet life and bad things. It's because of how vivid a picture of hood life it paints for how essentially white people, or at least a significant portion of white people, love if they were the same the bad state of white people, even if they're too scared to experience the best person. Like you say, except politicians making their own. Like no one is like TWI. No one never TWI make jokes. That was way. Like just because merchandise right basically what does spend 6 years to really build and still
Huh?
Again, if he had clout, not just rich, but the big basically also close it up. We can't.
Fine work.
E. His high chair's in the kitchen. Sure, though. Oh no!
Red is the winner.
But that begs the question. What did he do to make the niggas that bad? Even after he was shot, and why was he effectively exiled from both the industry and his own term until he basically forced his way back in? Alright, I guess I'm gonna have to enter the trap territory. Damn! Kenneth the Thrift, aka Supreme, was what Jay-Z thinks you think he is. Throughout the 80s, the Supreme team, based out of South Jamaica, damn near monopolized the drug game in that borough, making Preem one of the biggest drug kingpins in the entire city. You can learn more about that by watching Our Profits channel. Will endorse or one of the many other videos and documentaries made about Supreme Team, because this ain't that channel, and I'm doing my best to make sure it stays that way. Anyway, if you've been paying attention, then you know that this is around the same time that a young Hurt Jackson in the streets in the same neighborhood. So who do you think his OG was? Preem wound up taking Curtis under his wing. 50 became something of a protege, often being seen riding around Southside with Preem and his nephew Gerald Miller, aka Prince. Keep that in mind for me. There will be another Prince. Not really, just keep in mind, nigga, man. I don't like the people. So, well, as is basically customary for those members, Preem wound up serving a total of 7.5 of a 12-year bid between years 1989 and 97. When Preem was released, he had events to know he was going to need to find another stream of income, either because he knew he dodged the bullet with that first bid, or more likely because by the mid-90s, crack was indeed whack. Thank you, Gary. Well, Reed's first attempt to go straight he enlisted the help of his old buddy.
And now we begin.
I need a new strategy. Stronger than ever.
Red is the winner.
That bring the spire with quotes other lab artists that have 50 kills and the murder victim at the very least do. So yeah, 50 blame John or at least murder shot John like 50 right home. And I mean the point is these two are going to be possibly hard. Matter of fact, these take good job.
And now we begin. It is not your time. Cards, open your eyes. You're being manipulated. must be stopped. You are defeated. And now we begin.
I wish it hadn't come to this. Taking it to the sky. Got him. Clear the way. Let's go. Up and away.
Red is the winner. You are defeated.
That ain't cheating. I don't know what it is, but that stage is not good for him.
And
He
now
can't move freely. It's like you gotta be in between those lines. It's hard to fight like that when you're stuck in between the lines.
Thomas, Jeremy, why are we fighting each other?
Oh, the multiverse of all beneath the heel of I, Mojo Jojo.
I feel the flow of battle. I will not let the cat and mouse make a fool of me. Here we go. being manipulated. Red is the
There's no way.
I must move. The energy flows. You await me. I feel the flow of battle. And now we begin.